Welcome, Corey Quinn here. You've tuned in to a bonus episode of the Deep Specialization Podcast. For a limited time, every week, we're releasing a chapter of my new book, Anyone, Not Everyone, a proven system to escape founder-led sales. This is in addition to the weekly episode that we release every Wednesday. In case you don't know me, I'm a 17-year veteran of the agency space. I was recently the chief marketing officer at an agency called Scorpion. While there, we grew revenue from 20 million to 150 million. We also grew the sales team from 6 people to 100. We grew the company from 100 people to 1,000, and we grew the number of clients from 1,000 to 14,000. My passion is helping agency owners simplify their marketing and escape founder-led sales by becoming a vertical market specialist. I wrote this book because through my experience in scaling Scorpion and also working with my agency owner clients and interviewing many more on my podcast, this very podcast you're listening to, I've seen the awesome power of specializing in a vertical market can have in scaling. By listening to the book, I hope you embrace and deploy the strategies and tactics I share. If you want to get the full audiobook for free, you can go to anyonenoteveryone.com. That's anyonenoteveryone.com. It's available today. Now onto the episode. Chapter 5. The 4-step process. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Zig Ziglar, author, salesman, and motivational speaker. There are 4 steps in the process for identifying the best vertical market for your agency. Step 1, gather your client data. Step 2, identify 3 verticals. Step 3, score the verticals. Step 4, validate the market. Completing these 4 steps can take up to 3 hours. Think of these 3 hours as both an investment and an insurance policy, preventing the costly mistake of choosing the wrong vertical market for your agency. The only things you'll need to get started are your client data, an internet browser, and a hot cup of tea to help keep you focused. I recommend reading through the entire 4-step process before beginning. Then open the companion workbook, go back through the chapter a second time, and do the exercises. This way, you'll understand the process before playing with the dials and knobs. Step 1, gather your client data. Use your client financial and sales data to help identify a handful of client vertical markets with which you've had success. Here's a list of the client data you'll need to gather and organize. Total number of clients by vertical. Average client annual revenue by client vertical. Average client retention by vertical in months. Start by grouping your current clients into verticals. For example, let's say you have a total of 33 clients. When you group them up by vertical market, you learn that you have 9 law firms, 9 auto dealers, 5 retail businesses, 4 dentists, 3 chiropractors, and 3 hospitals. If this is the first time you're grouping these clients into vertical markets, you may need some help with naming your client verticals. And if you get stuck, remember there is no right way to choose vertical names for these groups. Just use common sense and group your clients into verticals based on what is most practical, and please don't overthink it. For example, let's say you have a variety of dental professionals as clients, including general dentists, odontists, which are dentists for kids, orthodontists, and periodontists. You could either group them as a single vertical, dentists, or you can break them out into each type of dentist in separate verticals in the worksheet. You are the best person to make the call on this. You can always rework the groupings as you complete this process if you realize that your original organization isn't optimal. Deep specialization pro tip. If you need help assigning vertical names to your verticals, here's a reference list you can use. NAICS.com/NAICS-DRILLDOWN-TABLE. If your current client list is light on vertical market data, you may also want to include client data from previous clients. Once you've named and grouped your client list into vertical markets, it's time to add 3 pieces of client data. Number 1, total number of clients by vertical. 2, average annual revenue by vertical. And 3, average client retention by vertical in months. Step 2, identify 3 verticals. Now ask yourself which vertical markets stand out. Seeing this client data for the first time may cause some vertical markets to jump out, or it may not. And if not, that's okay. Either way, now's the time to select 3 verticals to progress through the remaining 2 steps in this process. You may choose 3 verticals based on your tangible client metrics, or you may decide to choose a vertical because you have a particular interest in it despite not having supportive client data. Either way is fine, just choose up to 3. Step 3, score the verticals. Now that you've isolated 3 verticals, score the verticals through a qualitative lens for fit. This step ensures you'll be choosing a vertical market that is not only financially strong, but that aligns with your company's strategy and preferred market dynamics. Rate the 3 verticals based on 17 qualitative measures using a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is an enthusiastic yes and 1 is a big no. So here are the 17 qualitative measures. Under agency experience, there are 3. The first one is, does our sales team like selling to buyers in this vertical? Now, in the case of being the only salesperson in the company as the founder, this question still counts. Do you like selling to them? The second one is, does our client success team like helping clients in this vertical? And the third one is, do I like working with this vertical as the founder? Under company and market strategy, does this vertical fit with my vision for my company? Does this vertical fit with our service and product roadmap? Do we have a competitive advantage in this vertical? Is our agency uniquely positioned within the vertical? Is this vertical relatively recession-proof? Under vertical dynamics, is the revenue greater than 1 million? Is there a close-knit community? Is there industry jargon? Is the market growing, on the rise? Are professional requirements needed? Are there multiple associations and conferences? Do we have a personal or familial connection? Do we have a professional connection? And finally, does our agency have existing recognition in the vertical? Agency experience. Okay, I'm going to break each of these down a little bit further. Starting with, does our sales team like selling to buyers in this vertical? After 25 years of operating in and leading sales teams, I've learned that a sales team always prefers selling to a particular type of buyer when they know the product or service they're selling will genuinely deliver on its promise. Salespeople are human too. They operate best with confidence and momentum. And the optimal way to get a salesperson to be a top producer is to give them a great product or service to sell that produces happy clients. Unless you're 100% certain which verticals your sales team prefers selling to, ask your head of sales to rate each vertical with you. It might also be worth interviewing a couple of other members of the sales team, such as admins, frontline sellers, etc., for additional context and feedback. Next, does our client success team like helping clients in this vertical? Like sales teams, client success teams enjoy working with a particular type of clients. Happy clients. Happy clients receive the service and the results they bought and then some. By contrast, there's nothing worse than regularly getting calls from upset clients who feel they're not getting what they were sold. While you may already know which verticals they prefer serving, if you aren't 100% certain, talk directly with your client success team leaders and ask them how they would rate working with clients by vertical. You can also interview members of your frontline client service team for their perspectives. Next one is, do I like working with this vertical? This is your agency, so you're the best person to judge the qualitative nature of working with your clients. Ask yourself, do I actually like working with these people? Do I deeply care about their success? Does their success align with my values and interests? Why does this matter? Because empathy and care for your clients is a critical factor in both their success and yours. Quote, I was actually finding that I could charge reasonable rates and do great work for the nonprofit sector and be doing work that I believed in. That's a quote from Sarah Durham. She's the founder of Big Duck. Company and market strategy. Next is, does this vertical fit with my vision for the company? Your company vision represents what the future holds for your agency. What goals do you want to achieve? What impact do you want to make? How many employees do you want to have? How many clients are you serving? How much revenue and profit do you want to make? How much freedom do you want in your business and life? And so on. With these factors in mind, based on your subjective opinion, does focusing on this vertical fit your vision for the company? Next, does this vertical fit with our service and product roadmap? Ask yourself, does this vertical have a problem I already expertly solve? For example, Scorpion started with attorneys and then expanded into home services. Why? Well, they're local service businesses, just like attorneys. They get leads and jobs from the internet, just like attorneys. They have high search volumes and large budgets, just like attorneys. They need pretty much everything attorneys do when it comes to marketing. Plus, Scorpion had a few home service clients who were very happy and getting great results. The next one is, do we have a competitive advantage in this vertical? Competitive advantages include deep understanding of the nuances, customer behavior, pain points, and emerging trends. Specialized tools, software, or processes. Strategic relationships. Specialized talent or team members. Case studies with influential brands. Next up, is our agency uniquely positioned within the vertical? Are we already seen as a leader in the vertical? Do we have key relationships with the influential thought leaders in this vertical? Are we known for our unique technology or approach? Is this vertical relatively recession-proof? Looking back on the recent COVID-19 pandemic, certain industries and verticals did okay, but others didn't do so well. Industries that didn't do well include airlines, hotels, and restaurants. While any industry is susceptible to getting hit with short-term recessionary pressures, some verticals are more vulnerable than others. When it comes to your vertical markets, do your research and try to determine how susceptible they are to a recession. Vertical dynamics. We covered the vertical dynamics in Chapter 3 with a table of the 9 preferred dynamics. Jump back to that section and review it, and then score each vertical on those dynamics. Next, add them up. Now add all the scores across the 3 vertical markets. The higher the total number, the greater the likelihood the vertical is a good fit for your business. Step 4, validate the market. The last step in this process is to validate that the vertical you choose will meet your business growth aspirations. Simply put, does the vertical market have enough revenue opportunity to justify focusing your agency on it? We'll confirm this by looking at market data for the vertical and applying this formula. TAM, or total addressable market, multiplied by 20%, multiplied by 3%, multiplied by the average revenue per client, equals your estimated revenue in 3 years. I'll break this down for you. Also, I prepared a quick video tutorial on how to get free information on industry growth trends and market sizing from IBIS World in the bonus section of this audiobook. Visit the audiobook bonuses at anyoneNotEveryone.com to watch it. Okay, let's talk about total addressable market. The total addressable market, or TAM, is the total number of businesses that exist today in the vertical market that you could sell your services to. You may already be familiar with the market, but now is the time to discover the actual number of businesses that exist in the vertical. Arthur Nielsen Sr., founder of the Nielsen Company, said, quote, "If you could put a number on it, then you know something," end quote. And he is right. For example, a quick search for dentists, personal injury attorneys, and plumbing franchises revealed that in the United States, there are 191,497 dental practices, 64,331 personal injury attorneys, and 2,984 plumbing franchise brands. Use the most accurate number you can for the TAM for your specific niche. For example, you may not be targeting all law firms in the United States. You may want to target personal injury attorneys. In this case, you'd use the total number of personal injury attorneys as your addressable market size. How small of a total addressable market is too small? Author and positioning expert David C. Baker recommends choosing verticals with more than 2,000 businesses. If yours has fewer than that, then it might not be worth pursuing. In addition to the number of businesses, pay attention to the average revenue that businesses in the vertical make. If it's less than $1 million, think carefully about whether they'll be able to afford your services. So once you have your TAM, you want to multiply that TAM by 20%. We're going to assume that only 20% of the TAM will be a good fit for your services. This is the Pareto principle. It's an 80-20 split. The percentage could be much higher, but we're taking a conservative approach. We'll call this your Pareto addressable market. Multiply by 3%. This 3% represents a semi-conservative expectation of your share of the market in 3 years. In other words, by focusing on this one vertical market in 3 years, you should expect to have around 3% of your Pareto addressable market as clients. Next, you want to multiply by the average revenue per client. The best revenue number to use here is the average revenue your vertical client spends with you per year. If you don't have this figure available, make your best guess at what it would be. The result of this equation is the amount of revenue you'll earn in 3 years from this vertical market. Looking at the number, ask yourself, does this number meet my expectation and goals? If the answer is yes, then you have validated your vertical market. If the answer is no, then you can either refine your vertical market by adjusting the total addressable market size and/or the revenue per client, or you could run the same analysis on one of your backup vertical markets. An example of market validation. I recently took a strategic integrated communications agency through this very process. We identified hospital systems as a potential vertical market. The research shows that there are 2,466 hospital systems in the United States, and their average revenue for a hospital system client is $150,000. Let's apply this data to the equation. 2,466 hospital systems times 20% times 3% times $150,000 equals $2,219,400. My client's response when I asked if that revenue target worked for them was, "It sure does." Now it's your turn. Here's a 3-day challenge. Now it's time for you to jump online and use the workbook to help you identify a vertical market. I invite you to take the Focus Finder 3-day challenge. First, share this 4-step process with your team along with why you're doing it. Then gather your current client data and go through steps 1 through 4 within the next 3 days. All right, in the next chapter, I'll introduce the next phase. Studying the psychology behind what motivates your vertical market buyer. Chapter summary. There are 4 steps to identify your ideal vertical market. 1, gather your client data. 2, identify 3 verticals. 3, score them. And 4, validate the market. Agency experience matters. Sales teams prefer selling to clients they believe in, and client success teams prefer working with happy clients. It's essential for agency owners to personally enjoy working with the chosen vertical. Your chosen vertical should align with your agency's vision, product, and service roadmap. Hey, Corey here. I hope you enjoyed that chapter of my book, Anyone, Not Everyone. If you want to get the full audiobook for free, you could do so right now by going to anyoneNotEveryone.com. That's anyoneNotEveryone.com.